Stop being foolish. There won't be a divorce, my cheating wife said. I just need one night to prove it. James sat on the couch, his fingers gripping the armrest as he stared at his wife, Emily. Her expression was calm, too calm for someone caught in the act. The scent of unfamiliar cologne still lingered on her, proof of where she had been. I saw you, Emily, James said, his voice low but trembling with anger. There's no way you can talk your way out of this. She sighed, rolling her eyes as if his pain was an inconvenience. James, stop being foolish. There won't be a divorce. His heart pounded. Are you even hearing yourself? You cheated on me. Emily stepped forward, her lips curling into a smirk. And yet, I'm still here, aren't I? She tilted her head. I just need one night to prove that you're overreacting. James scoffed. One night to prove what? That you still love me. That we belong together, she said smoothly, sitting beside him and resting a hand on his thigh. You're letting one mistake ruin everything we built. You and I were stronger than this. He pulled away, his jaw tightening. A mistake? You've been lying to me for months. Emily exhaled sharply. You weren't supposed to find out like this. James shook his head. So what? You plan to keep living a double life? I'm supposed to pretend I don't know? She leaned closer, her voice dropping into a whisper. You won't leave me, James. You never could. Her fingers trailed down his arm. Just give me tonight. Let me remind you why we work. A bitter laugh escaped his lips. You think one night can erase everything? Emily smirked. One night is all it takes to make you forget. James stared at her, a war raging inside him. Could love really survive betrayal? Or was he just another fool holding on to something that no longer existed? James clenched his fists, staring at the woman he once thought he knew. Emily sat there with unwavering confidence, as if she had already won, as if his pain was nothing more than a minor inconvenience in her carefully woven web of deception. You don't get it, do you? His voice was barely above a whisper, his anger simmering beneath the surface. You broke us, Emily. She exhaled, feigning frustration. James, we're married. People make mistakes. You don't just throw everything away because of one wrong decision. One wrong decision? He scoffed, shaking his head. You didn't trip and fall into someone else's bed, Emily. This wasn't a mistake. This was a choice. Repeatedly. Her eyes darkened, the smirk fading just a little. So what now? You're really going to walk away? Over this? James let out a bitter laugh, rubbing a hand down his face. You act like I'm the one ruining things. She leaned forward, her tone shifting to something softer, more manipulative. You still love me, James. I know you do. That's why you're still here, still listening. His chest tightened. Did he? Or was it just the memories he loved? The woman she used to be? Emily reached for his hand, her fingers gliding over his skin like they had so many times before. Just one night, she whispered. Let me remind you why you married me. James swallowed hard. The weight of years together pressed down on him, mingling with the sharp sting of betrayal. For a brief second, he considered it. Then his phone vibrated on the table. Instinctively, he glanced at the screen. A message from an unknown number. You deserve the truth. Meet me tomorrow. I'll tell you everything about Emily. His blood ran cold. Emily noticed a change in his expression. What is it? James slowly turned the phone over, hiding the screen from her view. Nothing, he muttered, standing up. For the first time that night, doubt flickered in her eyes. And for the first time in a long time, James felt like he finally had the upper hand. The air in the room felt heavier as James stood up, his mind racing with possibilities. Who sent that message? What more could there be to know about Emily? Wasn't her betrayal enough? Or was there something even worse lurking beneath the surface? Emily watched him carefully, her confidence slipping. James, talk to me. He forced a tight-lipped smile, hiding the storm inside him. I need some air. Before she could protest, he grabbed his jacket and stepped outside. The night air was crisp, a stark contrast to the suffocating tension inside the house. His fingers trembled as he pulled out his phone, staring at the message again. You deserve the truth. Meet me tomorrow. I'll tell you everything about Emily. Who was this person? A friend? A stranger? Or was it him? The man she was cheating with? His pulse pounded in his ears. He had two choices. Confront Emily now, or see how deep this deception really went. His thumb hovered over the keyboard. Who are you? He typed and hit send. Seconds felt like hours as he waited for a response. Then his phone vibrated again. I'll explain tomorrow. Just meet me at the coffee shop on 5th at 10 a.m. Trust me. Trust. The word almost made him laugh. He shoved the phone back in his pocket, taking a deep breath. When he turned around, Emily was standing at the door, arms crossed, her expression unreadable. You're acting weird, she said, stepping onto the porch. He shrugged, masking his emotions. I just needed to think. She took his hand, squeezing it gently. Let's go inside. James studied her face, searching for any hint of guilt, any sign that she knew was coming. But she just smiled, as if nothing had changed, as if she still had control. But tomorrow that would change. Tomorrow he would finally learn the truth. James barely slept that night. Lying beside Emily, he stared at the ceiling, his mind tangled in thoughts. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw her with someone else, laughing, whispering, touching. It made his stomach turn. Emily, on the other hand, slept soundly, as if she had nothing to worry about. By morning, she was back to her usual self, pretending nothing was wrong. She kissed his cheek before heading to the kitchen. I'll make breakfast. Let's have a good day today. James forced a nod, pretending to agree, but inside, he was counting the minutes until 10 a.m. At exactly 9:30, he grabbed his keys. I have some errands to run, he said casually. Emily raised an eyebrow. Want me to come? No, I'll be quick. She hesitated for a second, then smiled. All right, hurry back. James walked out, his heartbeat quickening as he drove toward the coffee shop. By 9:58, he was sitting at a corner table, scanning the room. People came and went, but no one seemed to be looking for him. Then at exactly 10 a.m., a man walked in. Late 30s, sharp features, dark eyes scanning the room until they landed on James. James tensed as the man approached. You must be James. James nodded slowly. And you are? The man sat down across from him. Ryan. The name didn't ring a bell. How do you know Emily? Ryan exhaled and leaned forward. She didn't just cheat on you, James. His voice was low, serious. She's been running a game on you for years. James's stomach twisted. What do you mean? Ryan pulled out his phone, scrolling through messages before sliding across the table. Read. James hesitated before picking up the phone. Emily. He's still clueless. Just a little longer. Ryan, you're playing with fire. Emily, relax. He'll never find out where the money's going. James felt the blood drain from his face. What the hell is this? Ryan sighed. She's not just cheating, man. She's been stealing from you. James gripped the phone tighter. Why are you telling me this? Ryan hesitated. Because I used to be you. I was married to Emily before you. James's breath caught in his throat. What? Ryan's eyes darkened. She did the same thing to me. James stared at Ryan, his mind struggling to process what he had just heard. You were married to Emily? His voice barely rose above a whisper. Ryan nodded, his expression grim. 5 years ago. Same lies, same games. I thought she loved me, but she was always looking for the next move, the next target. And when she was done with me, she took everything and left. James felt a cold sweat break out on his skin. You're telling me she's done this before? Ryan leaned in, lowering his voice. Not just to me. There was someone before me, too. A pattern. She finds someone stable, makes him believe she's in love, then starts siphoning money away. When she's ready, she moves on, leaving behind nothing but a broken man and an empty bank account. James shook his head. No, that can't be true. She wouldn't. Ryan pulled up another set of messages on his phone. Your money? Do you really know where it's been going? James's stomach twisted. He had noticed some financial inconsistencies. Small amounts at first, then bigger withdrawals. Emily always had a reason. Bills, emergencies, things that didn't seem unusual at the time. But now, seeing these messages, the puzzle pieces were coming together in a horrifying way. His voice was hoarse when he spoke. "Tell me everything." Ryan exhaled sharply. "I started digging when she left me. I found out she moves money through different accounts, all leading to someone else, a guy named Daniel. I don't know if he's her real lover or just someone she's working with, but she's been funneling your money to him." James's fingers curled into fists. "How do you know she's still doing it?" Ryan slid a folded piece of paper across the table. "Because I checked. She made another transfer just last week. From your account." James unfolded the paper, his pulse hammering his ears as he read the numbers. A significant amount, enough to be life-changing. Gone. His hands trembled as he looked up. "How do we stop her?" Ryan smirked. "Now you're asking the right question." James clenched the paper in his fist, his breath coming in slow, measured beats. His mind raced through every moment he had trusted Emily. Every kiss, every promise. Every time she looked him in the eyes and lied, without a flicker of guilt. Ryan sat back, watching him. "I know it's a lot to take in, but you don't have much time. If she follows her usual pattern, she'll be gone soon, before you even realize what hit you." James swallowed hard. "I need proof. Real proof. Something I can use against her." Ryan nodded. "Already ahead of you. I've been keeping tabs on her for a while. I have records of transfers, emails, even photos of her meeting Daniel. If we work together, we can expose her before she drains you completely." James rubbed his temple. "Why are you helping me? After everything she did to you, why not just let me figure out on my own?" Ryan's jaw tightened. "Because I know what it feels like to be played. I spent years blaming myself, thinking I did something wrong. And by the time I realized the truth, she had moved on to you." James exhaled sharply, his fists clenching. "I want to confront her." Ryan shook his head. "Not yet. If you tip her off, she'll disappear before you can do anything. We need to catch her in the act." James hated the idea of waiting, but Ryan was right. Emily was smart, cunning. Even if she suspected anything, she'd find a way to slip through his fingers. "All right," James said, his voice firm. "Tell me the plan." Ryan smirked. "First, we set a trap. She thinks she has control, but that's about to change." That evening, James returned home, his emotions hidden beneath a mask of normalcy. Emily was in the kitchen, humming softly as she prepared dinner. The sight of her, the woman who had vowed to love him, sent a fresh wave of anger through his chest. "Hey, babe," she greeted, turning to him with a smile. "You were out for a while." "Yeah," he said casually, setting down his keys. "Just had a lot on my mind." She walked over, wrapping her arms around his neck. "I was thinking, maybe we should take that trip we've always talked about. Just the two of us. Somewhere far away from all the stress." James forced a chuckle. "That sounds nice." She kissed his cheek. "I'll take care of all the arrangements. You won't have to worry about a thing." He smiled at her, though inside his stomach churned. He knew exactly what she was doing. She wasn't planning a trip to save their marriage. She was planning her escape. But this time, she wouldn't get away. This time, James would be the one in control.